Hello, 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 hello. Good evening, good evening. Good evening, great people. It's good to see you. Let me know how the sound is, how the video is from your end. Let me know where you're watching from. Thank you for those people who are already in. I can see Wambui Mboro. I think we can call her Wambui Mboro from Hope FM. So thank you so much, my sister, for coming through. Where are the rest? Where are the rest? Someone tell us where you're watching from, and make sure that you share, you tag these this live show, because it will be amazing. So I'm waiting to hear from you people, how the sound is, how the video is. Yes. Someone tell us how the sound is, how the video is, so that we can start. Yes. Okay. I'm waiting to see a comment about the sound, about the video. Hey, thank you guys for coming through. Thank you so much. Great. Good to see you. Drop a comment there. I will appreciate recognizing your presence. You always make us proud to run this show. So we really appreciate you guys. Yeah, someone told me I should be ladies and gentlemen. So let me know. Thank you. Caro, thank you for coming through. God bless you. Shaluta, God bless you for coming in. Make sure that you share. Tag all those friends. They need to be in the house. 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 Amazing. Video is okay. Shaluta, sound is okay. Just tell us it's okay. Good. Thank you. Amazing. So we can get into today's discussion. Yes, thank you, my brother Katana, for coming in. My brother Johnson, all the way from Meru, God bless you. Bantuba Meru, I know there is your sister here who is watching. So we thank God for each and every one of you. So allow me to get into our discussion tonight. It would be amazing, and I'm praying that God is going to help me to contain my energy even as I discuss today's topic, because it's one that I'm passionate about. It's something, I hold it dearly when I talk about men. And tonight, if you have seen our poster, is about the place of a man. And I know the ladies in the house, the mothers in the house, the gentlemen in the house, this is a place that we need to hear these as we grow together, because we have to say as it is, and today we want to see, by the end of this show, we are going to have a well-rebranded man. We are going to have a well-positioned man. We are going to have men who understand their role first. They understand their calling first, their purpose. Because as we have said in this show, you cannot give what you don't have. And majority of men out there are struggling to give what they don't have. Majority of men out there, they are looking for, the society is expecting them to be this kind of men, and they are not that to themselves. So at the end of the day, we have end up losing a lot of men. Look at this. One day, and sorry to give this an example, I visited one of a morgue around here on a certain day. And that particular day, remember, I tagged along a friend of mine, and we visited there and wanted to do a bit of statistics. In that morgue, they, those people that were, were being removed to be buried on that day, there were 8 of them. And shockingly, the 8 of them, they were men. Today, if you're to visit prisons, the Kenya prisons, majority of people in the prison are men. If you do road statistics in terms of accidents, you'll get men. When we talk about alcohol, majority will get are men. So there is a reason of coming together and finding what is happening to the man. Because if you lose the man, actually I think we should start a campaign of, man is becoming an endangered species. And we need to have a discussion because the man carries the seed. And when we don't protect this man, when we don't find man, when we don't help man to create the conducive environment for themselves, then we are losing it. There is no future. There is no hope. So when we talk about having man, we want to see how well can we be able to help our men first accept themselves. So tonight we want to talk the place of man. I know the society have defined man as, this man with energy, masculinity, someone who doesn't have emotions, someone who is always probably right. That the society have placed a man that is wrong for a man to make a mistake. Have said it is wrong probably for a man to show emotional vulnerability. And that's where we have lost men. Look, even as we bring up our kids, there is a way we treat boys and it's not the same way we treat girls. I remember this, a parent will pinch a boy and a girl, and it's kind of sin for a boy to cry. Because I wonder if a boy cries, as the tears from a man, colored, and for girls colorless. We have brought up men in this way that by the end they're realizing who they are. They have battled with themselves within, and they have nothing to sustain life. Even a simple scenario, go into your village and do a bit of, a simple statistics of the families that you know, and look, the widows and the widowers who, are higher, which number is higher. Go to your church and find. I think the reason of us talking about the place of man, so that we can build that man. We want to enjoy even old age with our men, with our fathers, with our grandfathers. Where they go, I think we need to tell them, hey, we also need to be here. We need to see you. As you should enjoy life, also Guka should be there. So I think it's a whole thing we need to see. Where did we get wrong? I know there's a friend of mine who authored a book, Becoming a Man. So there is a reason of all of us coming together and see how can we position man into the modern world where a man will be a real man, a man will not battle with the past, a man will be not stereotyped in a certain manner. And that's what we'll be looking tonight, the place of a man. And when we talk about the place of a man, and what came into my heart when I was coming up with this topic is, have we misplaced man? In this sense, a man in this current society is defined by the kind of a car he's driving, the estate where he lives, the kind of a house he has built, the kind of job he's doing, the kind of school that he has taken his kids, the kind of suit he dresses, the kind of friends that he keeps, probably even the kind of a phone he uses. That there is a way we have defined man from a materialistic point of approach. And there are men out there who are trying to do anything they can to be able to, to appease or to show the society, yes, I'm also making. When you're talking about other men, you can also talk about me. But within them, they are horror. Within them, they have nothing. So when we talk about placing a man to the right place he needs, and the first place where man belongs is a place of an identity, is a place of first finding man and accepting this man to know himself. When we expect men to lead and they cannot lead themselves, when we expect men to provide and they cannot provide to themselves, when we expect men to show the way and they don't know that way, how do we expect to get from them what they don't have? How do you expect me to love someone if I don't love myself? And you see, men have a problem with loving themselves. Men have a problem, having that place of appreciating who they are. The cliche you'll find in the street that mwanaume ni jasho. Unashindwa, who said? There is a way, there is a notion we have built up that man has to be hardened, that man has to be this. And it's not about the physical hardness. If there is anything that men need to understand, it's how to have the emotional stamina, the psychological stamina. That is what the within defines the without. If you're going to have a generation that able to honor process, we must build it from men who have known the place of knowing themselves. Knowing themselves. And there is something we need to differentiate. The place where men say there is that ego that a man carries, and they think that's what defines a man. Yes, I know, but you know what? There is something beyond that. That place when you sit down, and the moment you know yourself as a man, also you start analyzing what are my strengths, what are my weakness, and you become proud of your weakness as you're proud of your strength. Because the moment you keep pressing your weakness, what happens is you are not dealing with them. You are not genuine to yourself. So the place of finding this man, the find of getting this man tonight, a man you need to spend more time realizing your identity, realizing your self-confidence, realizing, who you are. That place of build that man, a man that everybody will be proud. But before everyone can be proud, there must be work done behind the scene. And that's the place of finding man in the place of self-awareness, self-identity. The place where we have a man who accepts himself that, yes, I'm not like my colleagues, but I appreciate who I am. I am probably renting, but I'm still okay, because things don't define me as a man. I define things. Things don't give you value. You give things value. You are not running to get that car so that you can, define your life. No. You are getting it because it is the right time without pressure. Sorry. The place of having men who have spent enough time with themselves so that they can spend time with their family. When we have men who have spent enough time, they value themselves, they will be able to value everything else. Now we are building on men who within them, they have never spent even a day with themselves. And you're telling them to spend a day with their kids. You're telling them to spend a day with their family. How? They don't know what to spend. That's what you find. Majority of men, they're out there so busy, but probably doing something, nothing. So we need to get them and tell them, do you know what? Go somewhere, spend time with yourself. Get yourself. Where did we lose these men? So at the end of the day, now we can be able to package them. We can be able to have what we have, individualistic kind of thinking. Because we have men who think like this. They have to call each other when they're going for a weekend. And they'll sit down and drink. And probably one of them has not been, one of them is going through a challenge. But he's not open because he's defined as a failure. If probably is going to discuss his weakness. And we cannot continue with this kind of discussion. We need to put a pause and say, what? No. This is not the place where we want to find men. We don't want to find broken men. We don't want to find, confused men. We want to find men who have worked on themselves. Because I've said this, if I value myself, everything that is attached to me, I will value it. Sometimes women are complaining that men don't value them. No, not because that they don't value. It's because also they don't value themselves. Because if I value myself, everybody who comes into my life, I will treat them with value, with dignity, with character. Because that's who I am. If men can find themselves to a place of setting values and standard and principle, everyone who comes into their way, they will uphold them to that. Because that becomes the measure of who comes into their life. But what has happened, we expecting too much to people who have less to give. And when they cannot give, probably even instead of directing them to a place where they can be able to regenerate themselves, they can be able to restore themselves, they can be able to get a backup place for themselves, what we do, we condemn them. What we do, we are like, they're not men enough. I have had their certain standard that have been set. And if you cannot meet this, then you're not man enough. Which is very wrong. Because that place of once a man have spent enough time with themselves and they have known themselves, they have valued themselves, any other thing will come from outside, becomes an opinion. And what we mean is that you know your idea, you know what you're working for, and you know where you're going. So in the place of a man is a place of finding themselves. Point number 2, the place of a man, it's a place of authority. But a man will never show any authority if they have no authority upon themselves. I've always said this when I talk about leadership, that if you cannot lead yourself, then you don't qualify to lead others. If you cannot be able to show yourself road, sorry, you cannot be able to show others road. If you cannot be able to show yourself in terms of time management, in terms of plan, in terms of purpose, in terms of a vision, then at the end of the day, you cannot be able to lead others. So the place of a man and authority, he must be able to have that authority. And I always say this, authority is not commanding. Authority is attracting people and respect what you're carrying. Let me repeat that again. When you have authority, you don't have to show it to people. You don't have to rub it shoulder. You don't have to keep reminding people, you know, I'm the man of the house. The moment you have that authority and you got yourself from a place of knowing yourself, you know your identity. When you're operating in authority, anything, actually even your presence, it communicates a lot. It's like people in authority, when you just see them walking around, they haven't said any word. When you see them walking around, what happened is things get organized. Look, even in an office setup, when you see a manager walking, they have not said anything, but you'll get people getting organized because they carry an authority, a presence. You know, their presence comes with authority, and when authority comes, it is felt. I actually say this, most of the time authority is not spoken, authority is felt. So when we have men who know their place, their authority, they don't even have to talk. And I always say this, when a father is in the house, for example, even the kids know. He has not even said any word, but they know there is a man around here. There is an authority that here. They can feel there is an atmosphere that says things should be orderly. Things should be done in a certain manner. A place of a man is a place of authority. But do you know what? A man will never show that authority if they have not spent time with themselves, if they have not recognized what they carry. I wish we were going to get men with authority. Men who they have walked that journey of the society, they can be able to set the moral standard of the society. Because man, when he talks, it's not just words. They're supposed to show authority. They're supposed to show direction, because that is who we are as men. So even the ladies in the house, as you bring up men, show them there is authority that has been bestowed upon them, but they need first to exercise it on themselves. When you have a vision as a man, when you have goals as a man, that gives you, it shows already you know who you are. It shows the kind of power you are carrying. Are we together? Even if you keep telling people and they cannot see it, they cannot feel it in your life, they'll find a contrast between your action and your words. But the real men we are talking, they're men who follow their words with the action, and their action is followed by their words. So the place of a man is a place of authority. It's a place when men are there. Someone will feel there is direction. This is very important to getting our boys, getting our young brothers and sisters, even getting men at our age. Ask themselves, is your authority felt? Wherever you go. When we have men, you cannot put men and mess in the same room. Both of them, they start with M. So we cannot have two M's in the house. So when man comes, mess has to get out. Wherever men are, we cannot have men and have mess. We must choose to have one. So ask yourself as a man, in the life where you are, you cannot have a life and you're still living a messed life. There must be a problem, unless your name doesn't start with M. Because as long as you're a man, you must make sure that that authority that God gave you, that authority the society have bestowed you in one way or another, it needs to sort out mess. It's supposed to sort the family mess. And that's why I always tell men don't talk a lot. That's another strength. But they need to calculate their words. They need to know the kind of words they produce, the kind of words they say. What are the results? What are the repercussions? What are the impact of those words? That's the place of a man and authority. I wish men tonight are going to arise and take their place of authority and let the society feel that authority. Let that we can have men talk, and whatever they talk, it is life. because they have that life, a place of authority, a place of direction. Another area where a man belonged to a place of direction. A man stayed in a place of prosperity, a place of purpose. A man belonged to a place of purpose. Man need to define his purpose. And you know what? You define your purpose when you understand who created you. When a man have a purpose, is not in competition. Majority of men we have lost their self-esteem. Majority of men have committed suicide because of competition. They don't understand. I'm cut for a different cause. I'm cut for a unique purpose. I'm different from John. I'm different from Kamau. Yes, we are all men. We are trouser, everything in terms of physique. We are together. But you know what? Our mind structure different. I have a unique purpose. I understand my season. I understand my timing. I'm not in a race with anybody. I'm not in a race with anybody. A lions know when to strike because they do calculation. A lion is not going to hunt because the cheetah is hunting or leopard is hunting. No. They know their time. And as men, we need to know our timing. We are all men, but we are cut for a different purpose. And that is the place of a man that I know I'm not struggling to be others. I'm struggling to outshine myself. And the best thing I can give, I can make the best version out of myself. I wish men are going to get it into their head. Don't be disturbed by what others are doing. Probably, even if you are to look at what they are doing, it can only become an inspiration, not a place of, a place of competition. We are not running to be the same. We are running for everyone to get their goal. A place of a man is a place of purpose. When you are defined, why was I created as a man? Because if a man will going to find himself in all those, I'm telling you, you're not going to find men drunk in the morning because they know their purpose. We're not going to get men who are just walking aimlessly because they know their purpose. We're not going to make men throwing stones like yesterday. They know their purpose. They are busy building their own industry. They are busy building their own kingdom because a man have a kingdom. That's why you find when a man marries and they know they have created a kingdom. When a woman becomes a subject because kings rules under he becomes the king and their subject. Those people that follow the king. When you find women struggling to follow you, either probably your territory is not well guarded. The moment you have created that territory, the moment you have managed that territory, the moment you know where you lead yourself, those people will come into your life, they will find it easy working with you. And tonight, we need to get men to the place of purpose. Sorry. The place of purpose. Let me hear... Johnson, thank you. Can hear you very well. Yes. I can see Mena here. Yeah, wow. Great. As we cannot continue with the same mediocrity of men. We must reshift and change and position men to a certain level that when this society will be in a certain place in getting results. Thank you for coming in, Jemima. Thank you, Lydia. Thank you, Jane, Maureen, and then even the rest that are following us. So I was talking the place of a man and purpose. You cannot separate a man who is clear, has a clear picture of where he goes. He's very clear on his mandate on earth. He's very clear on his mandate. He's very clear on what he wants. When you have a clear man, you don't go wasting time. You don't go wasting your money because you know you have paid a cost unto it. When a man have already defined themselves in terms of purpose, everybody aspires to be, inspire and aspire to be like you. Because you become a motivation. You become a role model to them. And that's why I always say this. We don't have a problem with the boy child. Those boys in secondary schools and primary, those boys are sorted. If you have men 30, 40, 50 years, men who understand their purpose, I'm telling you, those boys are going to have role models. Even if we spend all time, and I'm not saying it is wrong, going to the boys and talking to the boys, but they cannot see a real model man, what will happen is they will find and ask themselves, there must be a disconnect between what we are saying and what they are seeing. And you know what? People change more from what they see, from what they hear. So they have said this, that kindness and action is a language even deaf can hear. So the moment we have built men with purpose, I'm telling you, those sons at age 14, 15, 16, they'll be sorted, because we have we'll have a moral authority to question them. But you cannot question what you're doing. It's hard for me to question my son if I'm smoking. I don't have the moral authority of questioning my son not to smoke. If I drink, I don't have a moral authority to ask my son why is he drinking. But the moment I'm able to stand, I can be able to pull somebody else. Remember last week we were talking about the dimensions of leader, and because men are leaders, the place of height, it gives you the energy, it gives you the strength to pull someone. So until a man finds himself in the area of purpose, they will never pull others. So men, even if we keep complaining about boy child, we need to know that the boy child is not the problem. It is the man who has a problem. Because us as men, that's why when you go to secondary schools, they are not called secondary men's school. They are called either they are boys boarding or boys day, because they're in the manufacturing stage. And the one factor of manufacturing a boy to a man, it is having a man who can model. I think I need to repeat that again, that boy in secondary school, that's why they are called boys and they are called girls. The days of girls is coming. Today we are dealing with men. So when we have that man who stands well in terms of moral, character, integrity, standard, principle, what happens is that boy will have a place of standard measure. They can measure themselves. There is someone who can correct them, but you cannot correct what you're struggling with. And that is my desire. Can we get men in the place of purpose? The place where men will be happy. Do you know, when God created everything, he gave man the dominion and authority. And he told man, go multiply and increase. Man must take that authority. And you'll only have that authority. When we talk about authority, you only have authority with the power that you have. That's when you graduate. Because you have that authority, you have that know-how, you have that knowledge. That's why you're given power. You never get power for what you don't have. A man will never exercise authority until they get to the place of knowing what they are carrying. Until that moment, I can do this. Then the moment you can do that, that becomes your authority. It gives you the power. It separates you from others, because that becomes your niche. That becomes your area of operation. That becomes your area of gifting. That becomes your area of calling. This is the kind of men we want. And remember, up to this place, I have not discussed about material. I've discussed about building from within. Because when we have men who are strong, not because of biceps, not because of how long you're going to spend in gym, it's good, but there's something better. It's not about having 12 or 6 or 8 six-pack. It's having 6 and 8-pack in your minds, in terms of attitudes. We cannot have men 40 years, 30 years, wake up in the morning, anaingia kwa stage kushinda gari za wenyewe na hakuna yako. You become like a signpost. Inajaa inaenda tao inakuacha hapo hivi. We need to ask ourselves, when are we going to arise to that place of knowing that what I require is not about 6-pack, it's not about 8-pack. They are good, it's okay. Those men who are here and they are working out, it's okay. As you are working on your body, work on your mind, work on your moral, work and your authority. I wish you don't have six-pack, but you have you have six-pack in mind. That will define you. That will leave a legacy for you. That will push you somewhere, because we have inadequate of men who can model for our sons. And that is my biggest cry tonight. We have a misplaced attention about men. We have a misplaced agenda about men. We have misplaced angle about men. And it's high time we get that place of knowing that men, until they go back to a place, myself included, seeking to understand your purpose, seeking to know what you want, it will be very hard for us to be successful in terms of family, in terms of business, in terms of career, in terms of ministry. Because what will sustain family, what will sustain business, what will sustain career, what will sustain relationship with others, it is first who you are. That's why the place of purpose is very important. Another area that we need to locate and get a man into operating to that office, is a place of man becoming productive. Men, we need to be productive. Once you have known your purpose, you have the authority, your emotions are okay, emotional intelligence is okay, you're aware of your weakness, you're aware of your strength, you know the things you're struggling with, you need to be productive. Men, we must be productive. The command that man was given, he was told, whether it's a command or a punishment, but I love to do it as a command, a man shall eat from his sweat. A man must be productive. A man must work. A man must make sure that as our DNA is production, we must fold sleeves. We must make sure that we have done what it requires. We cannot have men tonight. There are people who are watching me, or there are brothers listening to me, or watching me wherever you are. Now, for 30 years, you are 26. You are still staying at your mom's place, and you are a man. It's a place of manning up. It's a place of taking control. There are stages where you get, and because you have understand your purpose and you want to dominate, you get out there and make ends meet. We cannot have men at a certain age and they are still begging food. They cannot even provide for their family. That is not a man. I'm telling you, the DNA of a man is production and provision. And unless you provide and you become productive, we'll never know that you know your purpose. Because your purpose, the result of what you know in terms of your purpose, it is indicated by your provision and productivity. A place of a man is a place of production. A man must produce. A man must work. That one, there is no choice. Tonight, men who are listening to me, we must work smart. We are actually, it's us who are commanded. We shall eat from a sweat. So it is wrong for a man to eat and not to work. A man hawezi kuona achona bibi yako kwa hao ati anaenda kuhustle. A man, you cannot just sit down and women are in Gikomba selling tush and you are here complaining there is no job. Lazima tujitume. We cannot sit down and complain. Remember, we have said we are modeling our son. We must show them. And you know what? You're not working so that you can provide for your family. You're also working so that you can live a good life. Men, there are men who cannot take themselves out for a coffee because 300 shillings is a lot of money. Iyo ni unga. But ukijituma utakuwa na just an extra coin. You can take yourself out and you can feel good. Do you know why men are somehow stingy? Is because they feel whatever they have is too much. And every time they have to work for bill. But do you know what? There is a stage where you work as a man and you become productive to a place where you're not shocked about bills. Because do you know what? Your purpose will attract provision. Once your purpose is provided by God, then you can be able to provide for other people around you. Men, we cannot sit down na tugojee tupewe. Man is a provider. Man is a giver. That's why you find men, and I hope ladies are not hearing this. And I find it in a number of people speaking about it. If a lady feeds you for 1 year as a man, be in for a lot of issues. 1 year. If a woman pays bill, they do everything for you for 1 year. I'm telling you, be ready for anything. But a man will feed a lady for 20, 30 years and they don't complain because the grace of provision was given and was bestowed upon the men. Women don't understand the language of provision. It is us men, we have pushed them. And because the grace is sufficient, it has to work for them. But that's why you find most of women will complain. Ati mi siwezi lisha mwanaume, ati mi siwezi lipia mwanaume nyumba. But they expect us to do it because the grace of provision was bestowed on men. And when we fail to be productive, we can provide. When we fail to be productive, we cannot have a place of provision. So the place of a man, the house place of a man, it must be productive. You must be productive. That is not negotiable for a man. It is too much probably. Women are coming up and they're helping us. When women are being empowered, they are not empowered to become the provider. They have been empowered to come and give an aid, come and help us to provide. But it is our solely responsibility to provide. Production is for a man. Ladies are good receiver. That's why a man will go work, come with food. Give a lady a food, they're going to prepare and to produce a meal. That is the whole nugget about man. The place of a man, he must be productive. Not way about it. Not way about it. If there is any discussion we can have, we'll have it to Kifika Migunda and be a God. What happened here that we are given this role? But it is us who are told to work and eat from our sweat. So we must be productive. Men who are listening to me tonight, they're watching me tonight. You have to call yourself a meeting and ask yourself, for how long are you going to live in this quagmire? For how long are you going to live in this roller coaster of asking now and then, borrowing now and then, until when? When are you going to stand and say, I'm stable, I can do something? I know stability, it's a relevant word, it's a relative word, it's a big word. You keep growing yourself, but at the end of the day, there is something you're doing with yourself. Men, we need to agree and we need to take our position back. It is good our ladies are listening. They're helping us to make life better, but it is us who are on the steering wheel. They can come and help us, but at the end of the day, mwenye kona license wa hiyo gari ni wewe. It is us men who are given the mandate to be the providers. That's when the first man was created, called Adam, placed in the Garden of Eden. He was told, take care, till it, make sure that you take care of everything that I have given. It is the responsibility of a man in the place of provision. And I hope men are going to arise and are going to take that position, and they will do it gladly. Sometimes as man, you feel it is too much. Yes, I know, I have been there. You feel it is too much. But you know what? I want to tell you this. The one that sent us will always give us the energy to do it. The one who commanded us will always watch over us. So men, tonight, as we talk in the place of a man, let's get that man back. Let there be joy for having sons and fathers who they look up to us as men and they feel there is hope. They feel it is not all doomed because the man have known his position. For how long, men, are women going to cry because of us? For how long are they going to, shout, feel down because of their sons? And their sons are big enough to show them, they're responsible of their life. We must get this man back. But as we are getting this man back, it's good to say this, that it is a journey. It is a journey. It's a journey. We need to be more accommodative. And ladies, listen me here. We need to be more accommodative. We need to understand how to handle men well, because sometimes we have broken men from how they were brought up with their parents and their mothers. So we need to have this candid conversation that even in the process of finding this man, it will be not a night, a night out, rather an overnight thing. It is a whole process that requires a lot of patience. There are a lot of men who have messed so much and they are down there. There are men who don't want to face their challenge. It's good to have a conversation of telling men, it's okay, I know you failed, I know you tried that business, it didn't work, I know you took that loan and it didn't materialize. It's okay, because majority of us men, we are so hard on ourselves. We are so hard on ourselves. And that's why majority of time men will cry and their tears, they fall in the stomach. We need to get those men and understand the greatest gift you can give is to study that man around you and know their weakness and cover their weakness. Because the moment they know their weakness is covered, they'll not feel exposed. Why men don't sit down and discuss their problem? Because they think they'll be exposed too much. And no man want to look like weak. Actually, weakness is not rated with men. Before you see, that's why you find a lot of men who struggle to say, I'm sorry. They will struggle. Majority of men saying, I'm sorry, it is a lot of work. Because within them, they're like, there is a kind of a way expressing yourself in a certain way. It shows you're weak, you're not man enough. And we need to realize that's not the point. We need to, let men be vulnerable. How many people will create a conducive environment for men to feel vulnerable so that they can pick themselves and move on? We have fathers in the house who are crying within and no ladies can be able to pick it. We have brothers who are crying every day and no one can pick it because there is a kind of a stereotyping we have about men. They are strong. Yani mwanaume lazima ajikaze. They are place ya kujikaza huwa inaisha. There is nothing else unaweza jikaza. So you need someone to carry you over. You need someone to hold your hand and to tell you, you know what, relax, it's okay. So tonight, even in all those dimensions, if there is a man close to you, you can hug them, and probably tomorrow or over the weekend, take them for a cup of coffee and celebrate them and men and tell them, do you know what? I celebrate the gift in you. It requires someone to call what is within a man. Even those who look hopeless, they just need to be shown love. They just need to be cared for. They need to be shown concern. And within that, they're going to find themselves. Because we have lost too many men in the place ya kujipiga kifua. Mimi ni mwanaume. Mimi siwezi tishika. In life hakuna kujipiga kifua tena. We must get to a place whereby that we are losing a lot of men with this head-headed thing in us that we believe no one can, can talk to us, and it is messing us as men. If you're going to get man to his place, the place of authority, the place of purpose, the place of productivity, if you have to get that man back there, we have to do a lot of work. We have to hold hands. And even men who are listening to me, you need to be a brother's keeper. It's not just calling them out. We need to understand so and so is not doing right. How can we help? The place of, man for himself and God for us, it is done. We need to make sure that we are creating a conducive environment. Can we get this? And be patient. This process requires a lot of patience. Getting that man who is soily, getting that man who is drunk, getting that man to the area of recovery, it requires a lot of patience. It requires a lot of commitment. Some of boys we have boys at 40. To make them to be men, it will take a lot of patience. It will take a lot of grace. We have men who, men out, but here they are boys. Holding and getting them to a place of that place where you need to feel the authority, not even for the society, but for themselves, it will require a lot of patience. And if you're listening to me and you're watching me from wherever you are, and there is that kind of a man, whether you're a brother, whether you're a cousin, you need to hold their hand patiently and don't give up. I know sometimes it becomes hard saying the same thing the same way to a mature man in court and no results. It is not easy. But for us to get the place of a man, the place of authority, the place of purpose and productivity, it will take a lot of patience to do that. Thank you. Let me check. Joe, thank you for coming. God bless you. Mercy, God bless you. Lucy Chege, hey, amazing. Thank you, my sister Liz. God bless you for coming in. Yes, that's I had mentioned about Lydia and the rest who are watching. Kule nyuma amejificha. Thank you for coming in and letting us share this, saying as it is. This is candid talk. Hata kama I'm not a man, yes, but I know you're a mother. You have a son, and sooner he'll be a man. So we need to start working on it. Thank you, Maureen, Reverend. Genesis 3. That is true. But the Lord called to the man, where are you? And tonight is the whole thing. Where is the man? Because the place where he was left, he moved, and he's wandering about. We have men wandering about, and we need to get them back. We need to find them. Church needs to arise and find men. And you know what? We always start from the known to unknown. Sometimes we talk about that big vision about man, but we have not understand where they are coming from. I was thinking about, look at a man and a paper punch. When you take a paper punch and you punch it, there is a hole that you cannot be able to cover it. However you try to do it, even if you try to replace that, you don't have to put that paper back, you can't. That's the same thing. A lot of men have been hit so hard, and because of being the man, they will never admit they are done. And we need to have a strategy, how to trigger, how to crack the men, so that they will feel that vulnerability and they can open up. So at the end of the day, we don't lose our men. That is my prayer, and I'm praying to all of us who have listened, and they're in a place of authority to create forums for men. Enough are the days when we are talking about projects for men. How do you talk to a lion about going to hunt na miguu ishavunjika? Our men are broken. We are talking about investment, and they are lost in the area of emotion. They are lost in the area of purpose. They are lost in the area of attitude. They are lost. They don't know who they are. It's just a body with a trouser and a coat and a shirt. We need to get them back so that we can have that conversation about empowerment. We can talk about financial empowerment. There are ladies asking men for money, and actually they had to borrow. They have borrowed until they have reached their limits. And you know what? This has messed a lot of men. And they don't want to open up. So we need to have forums where we can trigger men. I'm looking forward to having 100 men in a forum, and they become emotional. Even some start crying. That's the moment we'll start healing these men. The moment when men will accept, you know what? I have made it wrong. I'm not going to hide myself. It is time I pick myself. I don't know even how to pick myself, but I need people to pick me up. But I have surrendered. Until we get our place, sorry, until we get our place, we are still going to lose a lot of men. And tonight we have mothers here in the house. Let's hold those boys a candid conversation, and let them be aware of themselves. Let them know they can make mistake. This life is not a perfect life. No one who is perfect. All of us are bound of making mistakes. But when we make mistake, what happened? How do we rise out of those mistakes? The power of a man, it is not standing, but rising up every time you fall down. That is my parting shot. That men, we have fallen. That doesn't mean that is the end of the road. That doesn't mean that is the end of my path. That my power is not determined for how many years I've been standing, but my power is determined that moment I will rise when I fall down. Men, all is not lost. There is some glory waiting for us. There is some energy waiting for us. We just need to wake up with the right attitude, face life. And I've said this, you can't give what you don't have. If you have not spent time with yourself, you never spend with others. If you don't love yourself, you never love others. If you don't take yourself out, you never take others. Men, you need to have me time. Find yourself. Where did you lose yourself? Where did you, leave that man? How can you pick that in a man and move on? Thank you so much. God bless you for giving me opportunity to share with you. Thank you, Mr. Richmond Gitonga. God bless you for seeing you in. Thank you, Victor Kamande, for coming in. I thank God for each and every person who have seen. I will thank you, Liz, for your comments. Thank you, Naomi, tuned in. God bless you. All those people that they have taken their time to come and being part of this family. I'm praying that God is going to give us platform to share, to build one another. Even as we end our tonight's show, kindly make sure you keep sharing. Repost this on your Facebook page. It's going to help us to reach as many people. Remember, we said this, our goal is not to trend, but our goal is to make an impact. If you know your page, there are men, paste this, copy this link, paste it on your page. Let people get this wisdom. We have lost enough men. It is a time we need to have a campaign. And I say by saying this, I think it's a high time we start thinking about man as an endangered species. It is a high time. I know there are people who say kila mtu na style yake, but you know what? I think then something need to be done. And for that reason, when we have a material that can help one or two, let's do that gladly, and God is going to bless us. Until we meet next week on Thursday, same place, same venue. Keep it sharing, keep it tagging. If you're not subscribing to my YouTube channel, kindly run to my YouTube channel, Sam-MTV. Make sure you click that button so that every time you upload a new video, you'll be able to follow us. Next week on Thursday, to be very interesting, where we talk about money matters. So make sure those guys who wanapenda Gladmula, tutakuwa hapo hivi tukiongea stories za dough, because at the end of the day we have to subdue the earth, and we cannot subdue the earth when you don't have something. So till next time, shalom, shalom. God bless you. We love you from the Well Show.